Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about specifically the strongest fire pals by the PAL decks in Palworld. So here I'm dividing this up into categories that I've seen after going through all the different fire pals and some other pals as well. Pretty much Earth, so this is going to be the categories. So we got Earth, Area, Hunter, and Self-Contained. So Earth is going to be kind of a global scale potentially of how the effects of this basically PAL can be. The area is like a close proximity, so it can be like if you're in with like 100 meters or something like that of this PAL, it probably could hit you or something like that with its specific PAL entry. The Hunter, there's a lot of these. You would be kind of surprised. They don't go into much more detail besides how essentially a Hunter hunts its prey, and it's a Hunter, so it's below the area since it's only really just killing one thing or going after one thing. Self-contained is it's self-contained to the PAL itself, so that the effect of what it describes is not extruded even when it's hunting or something like that. So here we go. First up, we got Arsox. So this is this entry right here. In ancient times, carnivorous PALs pursued them relentlessly. The absurd fury of it and the cries of Arsox transformed into a raging inferno, which has been passed on to this day. Arsox, it doesn't describe it as a hunter. It really doesn't. I don't know if it actually hunts for meals. It looks like it could. It's very intimidating looking. I mean, it's like a ram, has a flaming mane. There's nothing in here that really describes what it does, and there's not much information besides this as far as the details on the pals themselves. So well, that said, I mean, this is a self-contained. It's not much going on here. It's just a self-contained, kind of like a sheep turned defense. It's like an adapted to its environment type situation. Next up, we got Blazamut. Blazamut, as legend says, it was born during a volcanic eruption. A strange group even claims that this continent is laid upon the back of a giant Blazamut. With that said, I'm kind of going to spoil it. Because of its entry saying a strange group even claims, the fact it says a strange group claims, so there's a lot of them that say older people claim, so that means it kind of disproven now. But this one says a strange group even claims, so there's a possibility that Blazamut is actually holding up this continent on its back, or a big one. So with that said, this one has Earth-like powers, so we're going to put in the Earth category. Up next, we got Blazehow and Blazehow Noct. They're pretty much the same thing, but pretty much it says while it prefers raw meat, it already ends up a well-done meat due to its blistering claws, which it uses as its weapon. Simply doesn't realize that it's burning its prey to its crisp. And I'm just going to read Nox, which is pretty much the same thing. So it says, while it prefers raw meat, it ends up eating tainted meat. This is due to its dark claws, which it uses as a weapon. It simply doesn't realize its prey gets cursed. This is a pretty standard, I would say, This is definitely hunter, if you ask me. Both these are hunters. So one of them uses its claws to basically cook. The other one uses what would seem to be a curse, or maybe it turns it into an afflicted type meat, gives like a certain element that it doesn't normally have. Doesn't really go into much detail on that. So, I mean, there's not much more than that. It's just they're hunters. They go kill things and they eat them. Bushi's probably has this is kind of a trope in a lot of animes, especially, but this is a really cool. I do like this background on Bushi. So its body becomes a blade upon death, to be taken up by the next generation. If someone other than Bushi wields this blade, the souls will then torment them until they're driven mad. So it's not really a hunter in this description. It's insinuated it's a hunter, so it's automatically a hunter because it has a blade. There's no way you're not hunting things if you have a blade. But the fact that it is also kind of relaying the fact that this can be a generational thing, or it can make someone mad. I'm going to put in the area tier, because it can be within the area it dies, or whoever picks it up and uses it will be affected by this if they're not a Bushi. So it's definitely in the area effect for me. It's not 100% related to the actual PAL itself, but it's close enough to where I think it deserves that tier. So Phalaris, when it finds its prey, it unleashes a whirlwind of flames, burning the entire area to ash. Phalaris' breath is known for its pleasing scent. That last part kind of throws me off. I don't really know why they put this in here. They just put it in here for, I guess, flavor text. But the fact that it burns its prey, it's just another hunter. That's really all it is. There's a lot of kind of a naturalistic, normal-ish monster type effects in this game, which is, it's interesting. This Pokemon goes off the like wagon wheel sometimes, man. They go crazy with their like backgrounds. Flammable, when it starts crying, the PAL produces magma in place of its tears. The magma that pours out is absorbed back into its body, causing it to get hotter and hotter. The more it cries, the stronger it becomes. This is self-contained due to the fact it doesn't spread the lava, it sounds like. Since it absorbs it, it actually doesn't spread or it can harm things with this lava. This is a self-contained PAL. It's what it basically is the stronger an earth definitely can be the strongest, while self-contained is pretty much the weakest by the flavor text, essentially, or the entry. So Foxbarks, it is unskilled at controlling fire from the moment it's born and intends to choke on its flames it breathes unintentionally. Foxbark sneezes are one of the leading causes of forest fires. So this one gets a little bit conflicting by my rating scale, because Foxbarks, it's self-contained in the sense that it's young and naive and doesn't really understand how to contain itself. But the fact it causes forest fires, and it's probably one of the main leading causes of that because of its lacking of being able to control its flames, it could go into area. It's not a hunter, though. With that said, I do think... I mean, I'm putting it self-contained because I think the effect of having it burn down a forest fire is not directly related to its effect or its entry. So we're putting in self-contained. It's not necessarily directly causing forest fires. It doesn't know it's causing forest fires. It's more or less what's happening. So this is the the secondary version of Gobfin. So Gobfin Ignis. Once upon a time, it was a giant, powerful aquatic PAL. However, with the dwindling availability of food, it ventured onto land. As a consequence of burning many calories to walk, it astonishingly awakened its power to control fire. This is the definition of self-contained. It awakened itself. It is 100% self-contained. And the rest of it is this guy. It looks like a sumo wrestler, so it probably wrestles things. Next up, we got Incineram. In the dark of the night, this PAL snatches its prey to bring it back to its territory. What happens to those power souls afterward isn't too hard to imagine. So, with this, it's most likely a hunter. I think this is definitely, if we're going by, I want to do one on stats too. So I think this one would be a little bit stronger than most. But as far as Incineram goes, I mean, it's a hunter. I think to make this a little bit better next time, let me know in the comments if you are watching at this point if I should include stats or not. But for this one, I'm not going to include stats. So Yormantide Ignis. Legend says Yormantide Ignis once was a warrior who, after being wrongly convicted and cast into a volcano, returned as his PAL to destroy those who wronged him. It doesn't necessarily say how it destroys them, but judging by it's a fire dragon, it's probably going to be a really strong suit on destroying things, and its size is XL. This is definitely going to be an area. Yeah, I think this thing, when it comes to your town, it's going to wreck and absolutely destroy many things, not just one thing. It's not going to go after one person. It will probably kill many things to get to that one person who killed it. So, yeah. Kelpsia, or Kelpsie Ignis, their personalities change depending on the temperature of the water where they were born. Kelpsie born in warm waters generally have a passionate, motivated personality. That's awesome. Glad it's happy. But it is definitely self-contained. There's nothing really special going on here with this fire abilities. So next up we got Kitsune, one of my favorite designs in the whole game. Despite its appearance, Kitsune is extremely sensitive and will flee into a cave when spooked. Long ago, it was considered an ill omen if one were found nearby. The ill omen is not described here, and it's also long ago. So in current times, the ill omen is not really a thing that is known to happen. It was kind of just speculated back then, maybe superstitious. So Kitsune seemed to be basically a skittish fox with fire abilities. So there's really not much going on here. I mean, it probably hunts things, but for the most part, it seems self-contained. You could argue hunter because it is a fox, but it's nothing in the description that specifically says that. So here we go. Next up, we got Les Punk Ignis, a pal that has unusual obsession with their standing posture, always in search of the hottest pose. This pal's owner is constantly presented with fervent stances. So everything about this is so self-contained. It's super selfish on top of that. It has an ego problem. It's over there posing. And actually in the game it does pose. It is kind of funny. So next we got Pyron. Its entire body has evolved into a highly efficient radiator, gifting it with astounding stamina. When someone has mounted it, this pal takes caution to not burn them. So this has, with the inferring that it takes caution to not burn them, it has definitely a lot of fire potential with its body, and it's a radiator. So I don't know. It's kind of hoarse, so it probably isn't a hunter, but it probably could burn down some stuff. Maybe even, I don't think an area, but it's not big enough for that. It's more self-contained. But let's look at the next one. So Noct is its alternate version. It burns mysterious dark matter as energy and expels the remaining particles from its body. If someone rides it, they should take care so not to gallop down the path of darkness. I'm not for sure what that means. I don't know what that means. So I really don't. I can't really. So I'm putting both these in self-contained. I think Noct might be enough for area, but it'd be a really weak case. It's not really an area effect. It would be specifically for the person riding it. So I don't think that's an area effect. Next up, we got Ragnahawk. Some think it is related species to Beacon or but there is in fact no connection. It merely eats rocks. After many long years, its beak and head have hardened to accommodate this diet. I think that the description in general is kind of a little bit lame, but it eats rocks mainly. So it infers that it also eats other things. So we're going with hunter. Definitely hunter on this one. Alright, next up we got Reptiro? I'm sorry on that. So we got Magma-like blood runs Magma-like blood runs throughout its body. If a large amount of water is thrown on it, the water rapidly heats, causing an immense vapor explosion. Now, normally I would say this is kind of a subjective effect. Maybe it's like self-contained because it has to have an external effect thrown onto it. I'm going to make an argument for this one. Reptiro's location is right here. Half of it's on the coast. So the amount of this actually proccing its effect is probably very high, causing a lot of steam around this area with an explosion. I think I'm going to make the argument this is an area effect. It's just not super consistent, but I think it has enough grounding to call it an area of effect. Next up is Ruby. While Ruby surprisingly never gets sick, eating one piece of charcoal a day, made by burning a branch, is a secret to its eternal health. Ruby is 100% self-contained by its entry. Nothing crazy there at all. So Suzuka, this is a very strange looking pal, by the way. This one kind of looks weird. It was once believed to usher in the dry season. Whenever there was a drought the previous year, people would relentlessly seek to cull its numbers, hoping to bring about a plentiful harvest into the next year. Again, this is some old theories. So with the new theories that are most likely more true, it doesn't really usher in the dry season. So, yeah, I think this is just a probably a hunter. I think it doesn't really, it doesn't say that. I'm gonna say self-contained because I don't know much about it from the definition. But it's definitely not area though. Next we got Vanworm. The melodies of a flute made by the exoskeleton of a Vanworm are said to cross whole mountain ranges. In ages past, such flutes were used to signal an attack. Not directly from Vanworm, but from its bones or skeleton or exoskeleton. It's able to make a flute that causes battles. So that's pretty cool. That's going in area. Next up, and lastly, we got Wixen. With the power of light, it produces an arcane phenomenon. It prefers to eat food well done and is particularly hostile towards Catris. Now, Catris is its like kind of where is it? Catris is it looks like a cat. It looks very similar to this one. There it is. So that's Catris. It looks very similar, but it's a dark type. So I don't know what an arcane phenomenon means, but it says with the power of light, it increases an arcane phenomenon. I'm going to go with probably an area of effect here, a weaker area of effect, but I think it's probably like this. So these three are the strongest, I think, by the definition. Let me know what you think in the comments. Definitely let me know if you think I should include stats next time. But anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good day.